Injured in a motor vehicle accident? Call Robert C. Allen, an experienced lawyer prepared to confront insurance companies and negligent drivers. Attorney Allen brings 30 plus years of strong representation to obtain the settlement you deserve. Call Robert C. Allen at 850-438-6800 for a free consultation. That's 850-438-6800 or visit www.robertcallen.com. Watch the Ask Robert C. Allen show on WBQP-TV Pensacola Speaks on Blab TV and follow him on all social media platforms.
Hello there. Hello, and welcome to The Other Woman magazine and Peeling Back the Layers. Tonight is a much anticipated evening with our guest, Mr. Brian Cook, who some of you may know as B Magic on TikTok, which is where I found Brian Etten, watched some of his videos and heard his amazing story, and I just had to have him on. Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to the interview. I'm sure you get quite a few inquiries and questions. You have an amazing comeback story, an amazing life. And Candy Publishing is all about stories, real life stories. You've got a big story, Brian, and there's no way we could fit it all into an hour, so we're going to jump right in. My first question to you is, how did it all begin? At what age did you, which came first? Let's start there. Which came first, prison or the drugs?
Definitely drugs came first. How far back do you want me to go?
Oh gosh. Well, how old were you? How old were you when you first started using drugs?
I would say in my mid-teens, probably like 14 or 15 years old. I had experimented with marijuana a little bit. Alcohol was the first one for me. I think because of my childhood and the trauma I experienced during my early childhood, I had a very negative view of myself. People used to tell me a lot of great things about myself. You're smart and you're a great athlete and you're charming. I never felt none of those things. I always seen those attributes in other people. And man, the first time I took a drink of alcohol and I got that buzz, I finally felt all those things. I finally felt complete. I felt whole. I felt accepted, like I was the life of the party. And that's where it began, was with the alcohol early in my teenage years.
Were you still you said about 14, 15, so you were still in high school?
Still in high school.
Still in high school. And that's when you started feeling confident. You started feeling, okay, I am somebody. You realized the compliments that you were receiving were true. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't realize. It made me feel that way. I always felt incomplete.
Okay.
I felt inadequate. I had a very low self-esteem. I was always the quietest one in the room. I had trouble fitting in. And when I started experimenting with alcohol and drugs, it made me feel like I was finally complete, like I finally fit in, like I was finally accepted.
So that's obviously why you continued using.
And the reason I said how far back do you want me to go, I think before even drugs, I was, because my father went to jail when I was young. My mother, she left. She ran off with the guy down the street. And I think I suffered with severe, like abandonment issues as well. And I was addicted to fitting in before I was ever addicted to drugs. And, unfortunately, a lot of in the environment I grew up in the neighborhood I grew up in, most of the people that I had to look up to, they were into criminal activity. They sold drugs, they did drugs, and I just wanted to feel like I was needed and I was wanted. I never felt that, from my family as a child. And, I could get that recognition in the streets. And I was addicted to that before even drugs. I got into, before I transitioned into like hard drugs, cocaine and heroin and methamphetamine, I sold all those things
Mm.
and sold it to even some of my friends. Um, I did grow up in a predominantly Black and Spanish area, and being one of the few white kids in the area, to fit in, I felt like I had to go above and beyond. So if y'all were stealing bubble gum, I was gonna go steal a car, just to get the recognition and the pat on the back from the guys in the neighborhood. And I was addicted to that even before drugs, just trying to fit in, trying to be accepted.
Hmm. And of course, I guess your misdemeanors as a young boy led eventually to prison or
Yeah,
jail time.
the first time I got arrested was 15 years old. I got arrested for stealing some clothes. I don't even know whose idea it was, but I was along with the plan, and I went to jail. And again, I grew up in the '80s. My dad sold drugs. It was the crack era. Um, you know, our government had the war on drugs and just say no, but at my house, everybody was saying yes.
Mm.
And when they came and took my dad to jail, it wasn't a war on drugs. It was a war on the people I love. I kind of developed that mentality. It was us against them. And it just perpetuated into my adult life. And as the drugs progressed, my crimes progressed. And the first time I went to prison, it was actually from a car. I was in a car accident. Um, Heavily intoxicated. I don't even remember the day, but I crashed my car. I injured somebody pretty badly, very, very badly. And I went to prison for 6 years the first time.
Mm.
That was in 2001.
Okay, so while you were in prison, you went in prison addicted to drugs, or did that happen after?
Oh, definitely addicted. So, like I said before, I got into selling drugs heavily before I got into using them heavily because I was just trying to fit in and stand out. Not only fit in, but stand out in the environment
Okay.
that I was in. And I had experimented with cocaine, mainly marijuana and alcohol was my thing. My sister's first husband got released out of prison, and we all thought it was a great opportunity for all of us because he was a connection, and me and my friends, we lived in the neighborhood. So he quickly started putting dope in all of our hands. And so now, at 19, 20 years old, I had just pretty much access to a limited supply of drugs. And as the years went by, I started experimenting more and more, and then before I know it, I was full blown addicted. And it was at the time for me, it wasn't a problem because it was almost free because the access I had to this person in my family, and
Mm.
we both went to prison around the same time in 2001. He got deported, and when I got back out, I had this monumental, addiction, and now I don't have the supply, and that's when my crime it even escalated even more at that point.
So I'm sure in jail, the drugs continued, or no?
The drugs did continue. I was actually selling drugs in there. It's funny how we can fool ourselves. I got in there and I put on a whole different persona. These none of these people know me, so they don't know that I was strung out. So to them, I'll tell I was this dope boy and I had all this money and cars, and they believed it, and I played the part, and I was getting stuff in to the prison, and I was making money. I was making a lot of money, and I really wasn't getting high. And I had convinced myself in my time in there that I didn't learn anything. All I thought I learned how to do it better next time. Next time I'm just gonna go back to how it used to be. I'm just gonna make me some money, so I can get some nice things when I get out. But I'm not gonna dabble in it no more. I'm not gonna get high.
Mm.
That was my thought process.
Where do you think that thought process came from? Why all of a sudden did you say, okay, I'm not going to be a user anymore, I'm just going to sell it?
Uh, well, I seen the damage that I was doing, in my life and the people around me. And in my mind, I really thought that, I had it figured out. Like I could make money with this substance without actually doing it. That was my downfall in my mind. So, yeah, I thought I could do it. I was released in March of 2007 from my first prison sentence, and I think by Father's Day, so within 3 months, I already had possession of cocaine charge, and that was the charge that would send me back to prison for the second time.
Okay, so you were actually in prison twice,
4 times,
4 times.
a total
So,
of a total of 11 years over about a 13 to 15-year span. Not very much time out.
and I believe I saw one of your videos where it was 20 years that you were, 20 years total that you were a user.
At least more. It started as 15. I'm 46 now. I've been clean for about 5 years, so a little over 20 years actually. But yeah, 2 decades.
That's a long time. So you're actually a new uh, 5 years. That's like newlywed. That's like you're a newbie at this. So
Somewhat, yeah.
five, yeah. So 5 years, Brian. Well, we were chatting before we went live and talking about your story and you wanting to write a book. I'm just full of questions right now. So I'm thinking of the whole recidivism, that revolving door for prison, going back. You keep going back. So you did that 4 times, at least 20 years being a user, being addicted. What was the determining factor? What was that moment where you said, okay, I am finished with it all?
So
That defining moment.
in and out of prison, the third time in, I was uh, I was in there a few months, and my mother, when my father came to visit me, and he came on a day that wasn't scheduled. He showed up out of the blue, which was already a little alarming. And as soon as I walked out into the visitation part to visit my father, as soon as I looked at his face, I knew that he was coming to give me some bad news. And he told me that my mother was in a coma, that she was sick. And I just didn't compute at first. She was only 55 years old. And he said, it's from the drinking. She's dying. She's got cirrhosis of the liver. He
Mm.
said that she probably won't even wake up. And I prayed and prayed that I would get the chance to at least talk to her again. She did wake up out of that coma, and I was able to say goodbye. But I had to say goodbye to my mother sitting next to a corrections officer, and
Mm.
that just kind of broke my spirit, because even through those 20 years of addiction, I was always under the illusion that I'm gonna get clean one day. My mom's gonna get to see me do well, and that was no longer an option. So when I got out, I felt like I was out of hope. There's no chance that I can make up for all the wrong I've done, and it just progressed. My addiction spiraled out of control, and that's when I isolated myself from everybody who ever loved me or cared about me, and I ended up homeless. And I'm homeless, running the street, and one of my friends comes to me, and my dad had been sick, and I was in a Burger King parking lot, and one of my friends told me that my dad had passed away in a hospital. That everybody that I
Mm.
ever knew was going all over Orlando looking for me, and nobody could find me because that was his last wish. He wanted to speak to me, and
Mm.
I never got that opportunity. A few weeks later, I didn't know it, but I had a warrant for my arrest. I was arrested, and I got a year and a day in prison for that charge. Ended up doing like 10 months. And again, I was completely broke. Um, I got out of prison. I had two different men. It's crazy how God always worked in my life, but I had two men that I had met in prison calling me, calling me. They know I just got out. I got a phone. I got on Facebook. They're hitting me up, messaging me, and one of them was in Tampa, Florida, and one of them was out here in Texas. And they're like, "B, man, just come out here." They're both trying to get me to come out there and try something new because they know that I've been struggling. And I didn't want to go. I had a couple $100 that my sister had for me for when I got out. I went and got that. I went and got a hotel, and I sat up in a hotel for the next couple nights doing cocaine. They're still trying to call me, get me to leave. They're trying to get me out of Florida, and
Really? Today,
I'm
in the
sleeping on
present?
a next to a dumpster in Orlando, Florida, and on the strip where all the prostitution and liquor stores and all that stuff. I was sleeping there for a couple nights on the side by the dumpster, and I woke up um, April 19th, 2018, and I walked a couple miles down the road to the same neighborhood where my daughter lives today, and that's where I did a lot of my dirt, most of my ripping and running. And as I was walking through this apartment complex, I look on the ground and I see little baggies on the ground, and I start picking them up, and all these baggies have substances in them, and I already know what it is in my head. It's my drug of choice, which I haven't done since
Wow.
it's heroin. And I have a whole handful now of my drug of choice that I just found on the ground, and
Bags of heroin just on the ground.
bags. It was probably at least 15 to 20 of them that I found. That's kind of my last memory until I woke up. I woke up in the hospital. Um, the nurse told me that I had overdosed, that they were able to revive me on the way to the hospital. But prior to be loaded in the ambulance, my daughter's mother was the one that called the paramedics. She had found me with one of my childhood friends. I was laying by a creek and I had overdosed. They said I was foaming out of the mouth. I had already
My
changed colors.
gosh.
And then they drugged me up by the main road. When the ambulance showed up, several people gathered around. Most of them I grew up with or knew, associates, friends, 10 or 12 people. And when they loaded me in the ambulance, my daughter's mother, she watched them try to revive me. She was under the impression that I was gone. That's what she thought. So when they put me in the ambulance, she called my daughter and told my daughter, that I was gone.
Mm.
So yeah. So for several hours while I was sitting in the hospital, my daughter thought that I was gone, and that was my moment. I just knew something changed. While I was there, and I knew that I had some work to do. I couldn't let that little girl get that phone call again, and that was my motivation that day when I left. I just made up my mind that no matter how hard life got, I was gonna try to finish strong. And
Yeah.
I took up the opportunity. One of the friend that was out here in Texas that I met 20 years previously, I said, all right, I'm gonna come out there for 2 weeks and see what it's about. And I came out here and right away, I just knew in my soul that
That's where
you
you
know,
were supposed to be.
I needed a fresh start. I needed to start new, and this is where I started. He helped me. He helped me out a lot. He put me up in a little RV, drove me around, helped me find a job. And that goes back to the reentry because your environment, man, is huge. And I went 4 times. I don't know. Maybe I only go one time if I would have had somebody waiting on me, begging me.
That support.
Come out here,
Yeah.
man. Let's try something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We only make decisions based off the tools that we got and the information that we get, and most of that's based off the environment that we live in. And I needed to get away from that environment. And I'm just so grateful for it. This is where it started.
That's important what you said. Now there are though some men that I know that are incarcerated that watch my shows from time to time. What would you say to them? Because support is very important, but it can be very limited. If you have exhausted your support circle with, I don't know, false truths, going back to jail after you said you wouldn't go back to jail or going to prison, using drugs when you said you wouldn't do it anymore. It's very hard for an addict to find that support, or someone who's been in and out of jail to find support. But you said you changed your environment. So what would you say to someone who's incarcerated right now? Because this replay will show months to come. What would you say to that person who has no family, who has limited resources?
Oh man, that's so tough. I think I want to say more to the people that aren't incarcerated. It's more on us to
reach out.
We have to be more inviting, and we have to come together. As a community, as a whole, we have to give our returning citizens better opportunities. We have to, like it or not, they're coming back out here, and to make life better in all of our communities. Like, we need those people to be productive, and what I would say to the guy, it's the people. The environment is it's the people. I hear, like, in recovery they say people, places, and things. I like to say, if you change the people, you're going to be in different places doing different things.
True.
The people that you surround yourself with is critical when you get out of prison. Critical, because it's so easy. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel connected. We all want to feel accepted at the end of the day. So it's very easy to go back around those people. Yeah, we've been in the streets, we've been committing crimes together, but when you spend time with these people, you form those bonds, you form those connections, and it's very easy to go right back where we know it's going to be comfortable. We know we're going to be accepted, not only accepted, but even celebrated. You're home, yeah. But that's it. Getting out of your comfort zone and surround yourself with people that are going where you want to go. Like, if you want to go back to prison, yeah, go right back and hang out with the same people you were hanging around, and you'll probably get yourself back in prison. But if you want something different, you got to do something different.
Right. I like you called them returning citizens. I've never heard it put like that before. I never heard that phrase, returning citizens. And you put it on the people that are on the outside to reach out. But what would you tell the person who wants to reach out, but they've been lied to by that loved one who said they would stop? Where does that trust? You've run out of trust for them. They do nothing but but steal from you and lie to you. So that's why they don't have that support, Brian. So what would you say to that mom or that brother? You know, man, I'm out. I can't help you anymore.
Uh, that's tough, you know, because you know, for me, that's what it took was everybody, you know, everybody in my family, all my cousins, my sister, they were done. They done heard all the promises. They done heard all, you know, all the good talk, and they were done. I was basically on my own, and that last lifeline. You know, if it wouldn't have been for that guy, I don't know if we'd even
Wow.
be talking right now. But that's hard, you know.
And you met that guy in prison, right?
It's hard, yeah.
Okay.
It is very
Yeah.
hard. You know, that trust, like with my sister, my daughter, I had to fight for that. You know, I had to earn it. And that's a very tough question because I also tell people at the same time, like when you're dealing with a family member that struggles, you know, with addiction and things like I do, you have to set boundaries, you know.
You have
Um,
to.
yeah, for yourself, you know. At the
Exactly.
end of the day, you can't
Exactly.
pour from empty cup, you know. You have to take care of yourself first, or you can't be anything to anybody. And
Was there not an organization or a place that you could go being a returning citizen? Do those places even exist? A place where, okay, I'm out of jail, I'm out of prison, I don't have any family, my friends, they're tired of me. I'm going to go to this center over here and I'm going to try to get some help getting a job and getting back on my feet. Are those, do those places exist?
few and far between. I mean, like in Florida, I can only really speak for the state of Florida. The state of Florida, they really don't prepare you for anything. Honestly, their reentry that they offer people getting out of prison, like halfway houses or things like that, that they might have access to. Honestly, they're state-run facilities with not enough staff. You know, and they're normally in really bad neighborhoods. So, like, it's just tough. You know, you're putting guys right back in the same position. They normally let people out with, I think, $50 now in Florida. You could do 12 years and they send you home with $50. And if you don't have nowhere to go, that's what you got.
So you end up homeless. And if you have family, you usually go back to what put you in prison because you got to make some money. You got to make money.
Yeah, and in most cases, like your family, you know, that's what they expect too. Like in their eyes, you've been laying up, you've been on vacation. We've been out here paying bills. It's time for you to start producing. So, you know, a lot of guys get frustrated too. You know, it's hard getting jobs still
Yeah.
as a felon, and
So
it's
you're on
tough.
the other side now, Brian. You're on the other side. It's only been 5 years, free of drugs. You're out of prison. I'm sure you're taking it one day at a time. I mean, my heart is beating fast just thinking about it. Nobody thinks, okay, you weren't once addicted. Recovery is a lifetime. Every day. Every day you have to say no, correct? To drugs or to that lifestyle.
Uh, yeah, yes and no. I mean, in the beginning, when I first came out here, it was a constant battle every single day. You know, I'd even made plans like, screw this. I'm done. I'm fixing to go back to Florida. Like, I already had it in my head who I was going to call and get some dope from when I got back. But I held on. No, let me push through. Let me push through. And things really, they honestly took a turn when I met my wife. I met my wife at my job, and that gave me a reason to stay, to hold on just a little bit more. And
that support again, that support.
Yeah. And I was still drinking. Because I even after all I've been through, I was still trying to fool myself that, I didn't have a problem with alcohol. I felt like I could still drink a little bit. And then the day that we got married, I started replaying, our dating period and our engagement. And I realized, I admitted to myself, every argument that we had been in up until that point, I was drinking. I thought about relapsing a couple times. I was drinking. And, she had 2 kids. When I met her, she had a 5-month-old son and a 10-month-old daughter. And I just married her. So, I made a promise to myself that day. I'm like, man, if I want to be a good kid, a good father to these kids, I want to be a good husband to her. Like, I have to stop drinking. Like,
how did you win her over? She knew your past. How did you win her over? I mean, you got a gorgeous smile, but I'm sure it took more than that smile for her to say, okay, I'm going to trust this man.
Too. My wife is also in recovery.
Oh, wow.
And for the first time in my life, before I met my wife, you could have caught, I was an IV drug user at one point, and you could have caught me with the needle in my arm and I would have told you were a liar,
Wow.
But at this point in my life, when I met my wife, I'm done. I was done with all the games. Like, I don't care if y'all know about my past anymore, because I'm going to do something better. You can keep talking about my past. You can hold it against me, but I'm doing something better now. Either you can be with it or not. I don't care. So when I met her, I had that same attitude. Like, I'm just going to tell her how it is right off the bat. Like, look, I've been to prison. I've only been off drugs for almost 2 years now. Like, I ain't got nothing. I got a car that
I ain't got
off.
Nothing but love for you.
And she's like, wow. She's like, the whole reason I moved, because she got a job at my job where I was already working. And she's like, that's the whole reason I came here, because I needed to get away from where I was at, because I was doing this and I was doing that. And so, yeah, the one thing that I was always afraid to tell people was the one thing that kind of drew us even closer.
Wow.
And then
being vulnerable, being honest.
And it was only about 8 months after our marriage that I downloaded TikTok. And believe it or not, like, that for me that was it. After I came on TikTok and I started sharing and
sharing your story
and helping people.
Yeah.
I don't think about it no more. Like, I'm not going to tell you that I'll never have the urge to use again, because I don't know what tomorrow might hold, but I know I didn't today. My first thought as soon as I woke up, it didn't matter if it was 3, 4, 5 in the morning, like, it consumed my every thought, my every action. And I can tell you that my mind don't think like that anymore. And it's a blessing. It truly is.
Well, you know what? You've got that support. For those of you who are just tuning in, I found Brian while on TikTok. And I'm thinking, I heard his story, watched some of his videos, and please follow him at B_magic, magic with a K. He had over 10 million likes on TikTok. And I'm thinking, okay, he just got out of prison 5 years ago? How long
Yeah,
you
I
been
got
out of
out
prison?
April of 2018, so 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. And now he is speaking publicly about and sharing his story about his recovery, being honest, being transparent, being vulnerable, helping others who are incarcerated or coming out of prison. He was on the other side. And in 5 years, TikTok, he's got all these followers, a lot of them who are recovering addicts who are coming out of prison, and all it is his story. And that's how important our stories are. A lot of people might be embarrassed about their story, but I heard a young girl say the other day, her passion, let your passion be your profit. And not that you're making a whole lot of, you're not making money doing this, but this is your passion to help others. You're still trying to get on your feet. And I'm asking those of you who may watch the replay or whatever, um, help Brian in his quest to help others. And he said it best when I asked, what would you tell those incarcerated about getting out? And he said he would talk to the ones who are out. It is, I don't know if it's safe to say, our responsibility or whatever it is as a community to help the returning citizens. They're going to be a part of our community. Do they have a place to go? Do they have support? Because if they don't, they're going to go right back in prison. So Brian didn't ask me to put his Cash App or PayPal up there. I'm putting it up there, and it's just a way of support. Or share his videos. It costs nothing to like and follow him on TikTok. Right, Brian?
Yeah, that's the easiest way to support me. I do get a little bit of change from the TikTok Creator Fund, but like me and my wife are good. I mean, we're still trying to come up, but like I'm just blessed. Anything that I've got from TikTok since I've been on there, I've been about 2.5 years. I do my homeless outreach because, like I told you a minute ago, I was out there myself. I was holding a cardboard sign at the red light, panhandling for change.
Wow.
So every little
You never
extra that
know
I
who you
get,
pass by.
huh?
We never know who we pass by on the street holding up a
Hey,
sign.
man, you never know. Because
Oh
when I
my
was there,
goodness.
I would have thought you were crazy if you would have told me 5.5 years ago I would be sitting here talking to the lady from Candy Publishing about my life story because I couldn't see past tomorrow.
Wow.
I couldn't
Wow.
even hold my head up. I didn't think I would ever have a voice again. And like you just said, to have like, I'm just blown away, by the doors that have opened up for me. 10 million likes. I never thought I'd be able to put a smile on anybody's face ever again, or my own for that matter. And yeah,
Just by sharing your story. I mean, that's how you.
yeah. When I first started on TikTok, and it was funny, like uh, I've had that was my main thing when I first started coming on TikTok, because I believe that also, like what you say, our story, like every single one of us, we have a powerful story that can
Everybody
help
has a
somebody,
story.
that will
Yes.
help. I don't care who you
Yes.
are, where you're from. You've been through some things, you've overcame some
Yes.
things that can help somebody. And your story is unique. So your story is going to resonate and connect with different people. There's some people that I can't reach, they might one in ear and out the other, but there is somebody that can reach that person. And it's scary. It's scary, but this is the best years of my life. I just turned 46 years old on May 5th, and I'm living a life beyond my wildest dreams. I don't have much, but like I'm able to go and give stuff to the homeless. I've traveled to treatment centers and shared my story. I spoke at a recovery conference last year, like, and when I started TikTok 2.5 years ago, I used to tell people, all we could do is today. We got to take it one day at a time. And my whole mindset is I'm trying to finish strong. A lot of times, all those times in and out of prison, jails, detox, I think one of the biggest things that held me back in life was all the regret. And I found a way to turn those regrets into something great, and let it
Right.
motivate me.
Well, you say you want to finish strong. You are strong. Um, we don't know the strength that we have until we're put in situations. Michelle Meyer says she just spent $250 at Walmart on food, and 5 years ago, I flew a sign also. So she's saying she held a sign also.
Yeah, she's saying she was out there
Wow.
too.
Wow. Wow. See,
We made
these
it
are the
out.
people that, wow. If you all go to his TikTok page, you will see he can't go on TikTok live without people jumping on and commenting and sharing their story and looking for encouragement. It is just amazing. He could have been embarrassed and never parted his lips to say how many different types of drugs he was on. And heroin and meth, those are not like drugs. Those are some drugs that some people never recover. They're never free from those. So just the fact that you were chosen, Brian,
Oh.
so with that being said, let's talk about do you call it a ministry, your outreach to help others?
So that it kind of just happened. Again, I came on TikTok, and it was the summer of 2020 when I came on TikTok. At first, I didn't know what I was doing. Again, the power of stories. I'm on here. I'm just trying to put a smile on somebody's face because, again, I'm trying to finish strong. I know I can't make up for all the bad things that I did, but like I tried to go out every day with the mindset of like, I'm going to make people smile. Everybody I come in contact with, I'm not going to be that person anymore that sucks the life out of the room, that takes away from the relationship. So I just want to add to it. If it ain't nothing but a smile on somebody's face, holding the door for somebody, starting a conversation with somebody, I want to make a positive difference. I'm tired of taking away. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I don't even know what the question was.
But yeah, that was my mindset, early on,
Oh yeah, your
and I
outreach,
found
talking about your
TikTok,
outreach.
and while I was on TikTok, just trying to put smiles on people's face, that's where we were going. I started seeing other people sharing their stories, and by them being vulnerable and transparent and sharing their stories, I was starting to go in these comment sections, and I'm making friends with other people in recovery. But I'm seeing the impact that just sharing people your story is having on other people.
Yes,
And I'm
yes.
like, so I went to my wife and I told my wife, I was like, babe, if I'm gonna be on this app, like that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And it was scary because nobody in Texas knew that I was an ex-drug addict. Nobody in Texas knew that I was a felon. Everybody out here just thought I was a good worker and a solid friend and all that. So it was very scary because I had like, what if I go viral? Everybody's gonna find out.
Yeah.
And I did go viral, and everybody found out, and they love and respect me even more now. But I say I was at like right around 50,000 followers, and I was live streaming one day, and somebody just started gifting me the crazy on my TikTok live, and as soon as I got off, I was like, my spirit just telling me, like, you can't keep this money.
Mm,
Like,
mm,
you got to bless somebody, man. Your bills are paid. Like,
yes,
it was
yes.
Christmas time too. We already got all the presents under the tree. Like, everything, we're good. So I took all that money and I went and got every, backpacks, blankets, socks. At the time, Austin had a huge homeless population, and I just went out there on the streets, man. I right by Austin Police Station. It was a parking lot that they had took over pretty much. The homeless people. It was just a tent city. And I just pulled up,
Wow.
popped the trunk, and just started giving stuff out and talking, sharing. I've helped a
That's
couple
why you're blessed,
guys
Brian. That's why
find
you're
treatment.
blessed. You give. It's blessed. The world is based on giving. And for those people who are religious or spirit, whatever, God gave his son. His son gave his life. That's our example, is to give. I always say we're all one. We're all brothers and sisters. We just haven't learned to get along with one another. We all have the same life source. So the fact that you were once homeless, holding up a sign, drivers, sometimes you don't even want to look at those people. You're hoping that they don't look at you. Um, you don't know whether to give. You don't know. I hear it all the time where he might be spending on alcohol. Our job is to give. What they do with the money is not our problem. If Spirit leads us to roll down the window and give a few dollars, what that person does with the money, this is how I deal with it. That's not on me. So here we are talking about your story. Before we got online, we started talking about you writing a book. And to think that you were one of those people, one of those homeless people holding up a sign, and you've got over 10 million likes on TikTok. So you save lives. People talk a lot of bad about social media. I'm tired of social media, but I got a business, so I got to be on there. But social media, there's a positive side. It helps as outreach, as what you do. It helps save lives. You mentioned also before we went live about mental health. Those, they need help. They need an outreach. There's a lot of good things out there on TikTok and Instagram. So, Brian, if you want to say something to someone who is addicted, they're watching you, and they can either take another puff, another hit, whatever you call it, they're struggling. They hear your story. Yeah, you're on the other side now. What do you say to that person? They just don't feel like they have the strength to say no.
Uh, you know, that's probably one of the hardest things to address, because I know when I was out there, I felt like I was unreachable. Um, I would say that your brain, you're never going to think your way out of addiction. Once you get to a certain point, your own brain is fighting against you. Your brain is in survival mode. It don't think it can go on without those drugs. So every chemical in your brain is telling you that it's got to have it. So you can't think your way out. The biggest thing when you're struggling with anything, I think, is to reach out, because you feel like you can't quit. It's so hard alone. I think, and again, to the people that have a loved one that is struggling, make yourselves available, make yourselves approachable. But man, that's the thing. Reach out, reach out, reach out. You have to tell somebody. You have to tell somebody close to you.
That you want help.
And I know, one of the number one things, like I had so many people reach out to me and ask me about family members or people themselves struggling. And the number one thing with people that are struggling is the fact that they don't want to, they can't go to treatment because they're afraid of somebody in their life finding out. And
Mm.
that's the barrier we got to break down right there. I can't tell you how many hundreds of people that reach out to me, tell me they want to get clean, but they can't go into treatment or they can't go to detox because they're afraid their boss or their daughter or their husband, they're worried about somebody finding out.
Mm.
And I just encourage everybody, man. Like if you have somebody in your family that's struggling, don't be that person that they're afraid to come to. Um, I know, it's hard to explain to people that have never been there, but I promise that there's some really great people out there struggling with addiction that they started off young, and yeah, they make choices. We all make choices in life, but you can only make the choices with the tools that you're given, and we all walk a different path. I think we just need to be more tolerant and loving and caring and make ourselves more inviting for the people that are, struggling. We need to make it easier for people to reach out because it's easy to say, but it's so hard to do.
How many rehab centers, or should I say, how many times have you been in and out of rehab?
Any, honestly, any rehab or anything like that I went to, it was because a judge made me go, or I had some family member that I was trying to get off my back. So I checked
Wow.
myself into a detox.
Mm.
I wasn't ready until that day. The day I took that near fatal dose and I woke up in the hospital. That was what it took for me. And again, that's why I feel like it's my purpose to continuously share my story and talk about it. Uh, Hopefully, I can keep some kid from ever going down that path. Is my
Hmm.
wish.
And I'm sure every family has somebody that's either in jail or prison or dealing with an addiction. Um, this gives some hope. Yes, they've made some unwise choices, could have made better decisions, but you're given hope. Brian, 20 years plus, you said that you were addicted to drugs, in and out of rehab, and now you're on the other side with an outreach. What's next for Brian Cook?
So, as we were talking before we went live, and recently, reentry. I feel like I just want to help. I want to help. I want to help while I'm here. I say finish strong. I know I can't never make up for all the wrong that I've done, but I'm gonna try to balance the scales a little bit. And I heard somebody else say it. All this stuff that I've been through has been on the job training. I want to get involved in reentry. I want to help people getting out of prison. I want to help our returning citizens that are getting out of jail. Man, I think a lot of our issues, they stem from mental health and addiction, and we're locking up those people, and then we're sending them back out on the street with limited resources, and then we wonder why we have these huge homeless populations, and a lot of that stems from the reentry. I think that's the next path for me. I'm going to find a ways to get more involved. I've already reached out to there's not many places, but I've reached out to a couple of halfway houses here locally and see how I can get involved there. Help use my
When,
platform to
when you say reentry, entering back into society,
correct.
okay.
Guys, men and women getting out of jail, getting out of prison.
Yeah.
Um,
And all of that takes resources,
right,
money. If they
right.
can just have a roof over their head, if they can just have a place where they can, okay, I need to regroup. I need to regroup. At least they would have a warm place to lay their head and know that somebody cared enough to say, okay, you can come over here. I know it's going to take some time for you to get on your feet, to find a job, especially if you're a felon, you got a felony charge. It's difficult to find a job.
It is.
But, uh,
So once I'm working one step at a time, but we're getting there. I am a struggling small business owner now. I just got my LLC and got my business bank account opened up.
well,
So
congratulations.
I'm gonna
All right.
I'm gonna try to like focus on things that are easily trainable. Because in the future, like that's what part of my ministry I want it to be. I want to be able to get men or women that are coming out that need I want to be able to provide them with that opportunity. You know what I mean? I
So
want
is
to be
that
able
part
to
of your
use my
business?
platform to help meet
What
their
is,
needs. If they need
okay.
a bus pass, if they need clothes, I want to be able to help.
Is that your business?
What's that?
You said you just got your LLC. What is your business you're a small business owner?
Home services. Basically just
Okay,
anything from handyman services, small plumbing repairs, pressure washing. What do you need?
great, 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 great. Hey, come to Alabama. I got a few things for you. Okay, that is great. So I've got something for you too. We'll talk right after this show. A way that I can help get the word out about your business. That's wonderful. So we are out of time,
Oh
Brian.
no.
Yes, yes. I told you the hour's going to go by quick. I'm going to give you closing remarks. For those of you who are just tuning in, you can catch the replay. It will be on the Other Woman Magazine Facebook page and the YouTube channel, plus the otherwomanmagazine.com under the link Facebook Live. So you can catch the replay on any of those. And please share. Everybody has somebody in their family, maybe not immediate family, but somebody in the family who may be a returning citizen coming out of prison or dealing with a drug addiction or a recovering addict, something. So Brian Cook, also known as B Magic, I found him on TikTok with over 10 million likes. I don't know how many followers, only 5 years drug free and out of prison after a 20+ year addiction. So I'm giving you closing remarks, Brian. I'm going to put your little 30 seconds of fame here and share your closing remarks.
Okay. Wow. Again, just thank you all for the opportunity. Everybody that showed up, thank you for being here. I just want anybody out there to know that it don't matter what you've been through. It don't matter how many times you fell, how many people you hurt, how many mistakes you've made. Because we all make mistakes and we all fall short every single day. Today is all we got, and you can make a difference today. That's one thing that we are going to make a difference every day. It's either a negative one or a positive one. So I just encourage everybody to be mindful and try to make a positive difference today. And keep in mind that you can never be everything to everybody, but you can be everything to somebody. Start with yourself.
Exactly. And be magic.
Be magic.
Be
That's right.
magic. Be magic. Thank
That is
you,
a
Brian, and
statement to
thank you
everybody.
all. Yes, thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank my sponsor, attorney Robert C. Allen, servicing the Pensacola area. And again, you can watch this replay, watch the interview in full on the Other Woman Magazine Facebook page and YouTube channel and the otherwomanmagazine.com. Thank you guys for joining us.
Fake, be who you wanna be, cause what makes you unique is your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity, it's your identity. Yeah. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity, it's your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity, it's your identity. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's what makes up you and me. It's your identity, it's your identity.